Time that music to perfection there. Hello, everybody. We are live. How are we doing? You guys good? It's Wednesday, which means we're live again. We weren't live on Monday. The reason being is it was too hot, and I didn't get to stream, which was unfortunate. So this will be the last stream of August. We didn't get to do our 2 last streams of August. We got to do 1 last stream in August, and I thought we would just have a little bit of fun tonight. Just hang out, maybe paint some MESBG characters. So there's a couple of things that we could do. There's some stuff that we could paint. There's some stuff that we could build instead. There's kind of choices abound in that regard. I've just grabbed some stuff that I knew was primed and was nearby. The choices for painting are Gandalf the White and Pippin. Or Eowyn and Merry. Those are the 2 choices for painting. The choices for building are Gamling and Hammer, or the 3 Hunters. This is just what I had to hand. But I had a really fun weekend last weekend because it was finally, you know, a nice temperature all weekend. It was very, very nice. And I was able to, for those of you who haven't seen it, who don't follow me on Instagram, I was able to do some really cool things. So in terms of MESBG, we managed to get a couple of MESBG models actually painted up, and they are ones that you guys have been asking for a little while. So we have Glorfindel, the Lord of the West. Here he is. So we got him fully painted up, looking absolutely spectacular. I'm really, really proud of how this one came out. I think it looks amazing. So there's Glorfindel, looking just beautiful. One of the best miniatures, full stop, I think Games Workshop's ever made. It's beautiful, beautiful miniature. So we got that painted up. There's a video coming for that this week. And the other one, the big news, of course, is the one that I'm the favourite has been asking for a long time, which is, of course, Thranduil, King of the Woodland Realm, on elk. There he is. So, in all his glory. It's a bit dusty on the back there. It's because I handled some dusty miniatures. So we got that done as well. In just an absolute blaze of productivity over the weekend. I was just very, very happy. But there we go. So these are 2 videos that are definitely on the way for you this week. Very, very exciting stuff. And I just really enjoyed myself. They're really fun to do. Yeah, we're going to maybe do a little bit more today. I can see I'm the favourites popping off in chat already. 5 months. I could have sworn I've been bothering you a lot longer than that. How the time flies, you fools. Great reference. And member for 5 months. Thank you very much. I'm the favourite. And then, with 2 $100 super chats, firmly establishing himself as the favourite. I see MESBG in the title of the stream, so Josh, here's the MESBG bribe of the week. And then it says Gandalf the White and Pippin, since Eowyn is Rohan and will get done when you feel fancy, so I'll use a secondary bribe to confirm more MESBG that are not Rohan. I see. Saying Gandalf. Gandalf the White, eh? Here he is. He has been sat on the to-do list for a while. 3 whole models for Gandalf. I mean, it's 3 for Eowyn and Merry as well. But like I said, we do also have, as an option for building tonight, we have the 3 Hunters mounted, the 3 Hunters on foot, and we have Gamling and Hammer as well. So we can do those if none of the rest of that tickles your pickle, so to speak. But there we go. Anyway, how are you? Thank you very much, I'm the favourite, for 2 $100 super chats. It's incredibly generous of you. As always, you really don't have to do that. but it's very much appreciated nonetheless. This Gandalf has been sat on my desk for so long. Needs a good thorough dusting. And not for the first time. Illy, thank you very much for being a member for 15 months. Are you going to do Contrast Plus tutorial for the 300s on foot? Yeah, I mean, everything I paint gets a video. Unless I've already done it before and then it doesn't get a video. Ups and downs, sir, but doing okay. Just stabbed my finger with a scalpel. I did that. I did that on, I want to say Sunday night. In fact, I did it twice. I did it twice in a row. On both my index fingers. They're much better. Oh no, sorry, on my middle finger on my right hand and on my index finger on my left hand. It's basically my knife just slipped down and was between my legs, and I just went down to get it, and I just poked my finger right into it, having just swapped the blade as well, which was foolish. Oh. So, I have a question. Ricky, if you're here, I know I sent you the Condor Battle Host about 2 years ago. Yeah. It's taken a while. As you guys know, it takes a while to get through these things. I have a question, though. I have a question. When I'm painting these Eowyn and Gandalf ones, surely the best thing to do is to remove the Hobbit on the front and paint Gandalf and the Hobbit separately, because you might not want to run them both. Is that correct? He's got a blob of something on him that shouldn't be there. I've now lost said hobby knife. Where on earth is it? That one will do. You would agree with that too, would you? I'm the favourite. Alright. Well, we can engage Gandalf then. Oh, I see you've done another $100 super chat. Telling you to stop it. MESBG bribes are required for Josh. I know the truth. They are not. Okay. Because normally what we do in a video such as this, right, is we paint, like for example, Glorfindel or whatever. We're going to be painting Glorfindel on foot and mounted at the same time, because the horse is there. That's the most important part of it, right? But we then don't really feature the one on foot unless something specific comes up for it. So in this case, it's slightly different, because realistically, it should be a case of once Gandalf's finished, we then do Pippin as a second half by attaching him, I guess. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe that is what we do. That makes a kind of sense, I suppose. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am missing a painting handle. Interesting. Nope, found it. There's a painting handle. Do 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 do. All right, let's set the shot up, shall we? not stopping. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Warhipster, you rock. Thanks for giving me confidence in painting with your easy to follow videos. You're very welcome, Casper. How did the Storm Dragon do? She's done very well. So 1 out of 10 video is what they call that. In the business. The business I'm in. As in, of the previous 10 videos that I've put out, it is the most popular currently. On 5,500 views, which is pretty good. It's not bad. It's an old world miniature. It's not a 40k miniature, for example. They generally tend to do a bit better. But yeah, it's absolutely dominated Vulcan, which was the next one down, basically. Right. Let's have a look at that shot, shall we? What does that look like? Pow! Probably go an nth closer like that. That's probably fine, isn't it? Because obviously we're going to film this naturally. Casper, thank you very much for becoming a member, you legend. That's very kind of you. 1 of 25. There we go. Let's go. We're off. Colonel, who's been a member for 26 months. Hey, I got one of these. Thank you for all you do for us, Webster. You are truly an inspiration for all of us struggling with the grey. That's what I do. Okay. Let's go and study Gandalf the White, shall we? Let's have a look. Gandalf the White on Shadowfax. That's probably not the way to search for him. Let's go to Games Workshop. Go Gandalf. Yep. Gandalf the White and Peregrine Took. Okie dokie. So, there's a whole lot of white going on here, naturally. But what we've got is we've got 2 different types of white. We've got a sort of slightly bone-like white, and we've got a white. So, I think... yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Alright. I think we've got a vague plan. A vague plan on the go. Do you know if you'll be doing more Space Wolves videos? We can certainly look at... so I need to do the Wolfguard Terminators. They're the next thing to do. I've run out of time consistently to keep doing them. So like this week I'm very busy. Next week I'm a little less busy, but still very busy. And the week after I'm extremely busy. The week after that I'm extremely busy. So I'm booked until October. So we will try our best to get the Wolfguard Terminator video out. We've got to paint them first though. And it's other things have been a priority recently. And so I'm the favourite with 2 sets of gifted memberships. 25 in total. There you go. Goals achieved. Boom. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Alright. I think I've got a plan. So I think the first thing to do, well, naturally, as you guys will no doubt be asking, is what the primer is. But I think the first colour is going to be some Soul Light Grey. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 brush loads of that down, and then I'm going to put 1 allow me to read them in there. Alright, here we go. Are you ready? Let's do some filming live, shall we? Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are once again visiting the realm of Middle-earth. Yes, we are painting Gandalf the White and Peregrine Took. In here we have the 3 models, but it's technically 4 because Pippin is in fact separate, so we can just pop him off the horse for now. Well, the horse being Shadowfax. So here's the plan, right? So we've got some admin to go through. It's all been primed in White Scar, but what we're going to do is we're going to focus on Gandalf the White first, and we're just going to do him and him at the same time. And we're mostly going to focus on him, so that we've got the whole of Shadowfax and Gandalf done, plus the Gandalf on foot. And then once that's all done, we will then slide Pippin onto the horse and then paint Pippin at the same time. That's the plan, at least, anyway. So we're going to pop the other 2 to one side for now. Get them out of the way. There we go. And, well, as already mentioned, Gandalf has been primed in White Scar. And the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly 4 parts Soulblight Grey to 1 part Larmian Medium mix. And we're going to be applying this over top of all of Shadowfax's skin. And, well, fur and flesh, basically. So we're going to be avoiding the tail. And we're going to be avoiding the mane as well. But otherwise, we're just going to apply this all over. And then once that's all done, we shall come back. There you go. That's how we do it. Cool. Now we'll just leave that to dry for a minute. Watching the master work his craft. No. Blaster says sup. I say sup to Blaster. Anyway, what are you guys up to? What are you guys doing tonight? I know there was some excitement around the new Warcry update from Martin. Warcry! Yes. It's not dead after all. There is some life remaining in Warcry. It's very exciting. I'm building the Cursed Sepulchre, but can't decide which variant. They both look good, and they do. Trying to finish my Osgiliath bases for Damrod and these ranges. You can do it. Where can I buy this Gandalf miniature on horseback? I've been looking for a while. You can buy it from any Games Workshop shop, and actually quite a few independent hobby stores. But Games Workshop online, they have it. Firestorm Games, I have an affiliate link down below. You can click on that, they'll have it as well. Mini Bane Dad, thank you very much for the 5 gifted Warhipster memberships. That is legendary, thank you so much. We're on 31 out of 25, can you believe it? Just petting up an Emperor's Champion tonight, about to start the backpack ribbons. Nice. Me and the husband are excited for our first trip to Warhammer World tomorrow. We are going with everyone from our local hobby shop, so it should be awesome. That is awesome. Do you ever forget to hit the record button? Oh yes, Ricky. Oh yes. I'll tell you what's really frustrating for me is when I forget to hit the record button, right? And then I hit the record button once I've finished, which means I record a whole period of silence, and then I hit the record button to start the next clip. So I missed 2. That has happened in the past. It's really annoying when it does. And I only have myself to blame. I'm building the Attack on Weathertop set, hoping to make a wee diorama. That's awesome, Dahi. Building Sagittar and the rest of the new Votan range. Awesome, Stoogie. Do you want the next colour? Next colour's really easy. Are you going to decide to reprime Elrond for the Elves video in the future since footage was lost? I might do. I have to strip him first, because he's quite far along. I'll figure out what to do on the Elrond front. Eventually. Let's go for another. I've been infected. I started painting 40k again. It's not the worst thing in the world, is it, Captain Manrings? What 40k are you painting is more important. I read that as reprimand. You're going to reprimand Elrond. Yes, bad Elrond. How dare they? Alright, here we go. We'll go for the next colour. So with that Soulblight Grey all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Seraphim Sepia. And we're going to apply this over top of all of Shadowfax's hair. It might be a little bit strong, but once we highlight it later, it'll be nice and bright like the rest of him. Boom. Some nice and loyal and fluffy Night Lords. Oh yeah, perfectly loyal and fluffy. Over the weekend I put on 2 towers and finally finished up Eowyn. He looks awesome. Congratulations, Mr. Drafter Pants. I'm still waiting for Wine to come back in stock for the Rohirrim. I feel like that miniature's been out of stock for several years at this point. Good afternoon, James. Writing down some head cannon. Nice. Hello, Tiger Bear Wolf. Glad work is slow so I can catch a stream. Love MESBG. Always think about buying more. Always buy more. Right. What colour is... Yeah, we need just a little bit. Little bit. Of null oil. That's what we need next. For the horse's muzzle or nuzzle. I think it's called the nuzzle. His nose, basically. Let's just roll straight into it, shall we? With that Seraphim Sepia all applied, we're then going to take a little bit of Nuln oil. Not too much here. And we're just going to apply this over the top of Shadowfax's nose. Just like this. And then we're going to wash the brush. Touch off the water, and then we're just going to soften that transition over the top of his head. Like that. So it should be a very subtle colouring going on there. There we go. Oop. Missed a tiny little bit. I'm getting pretty close to needing to get a new medium layer brush. This one has this one has had some work done to it. So then what we need... Hate contrast painting cloaks, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. I don't love it either. It is the more tricky part of things to do. So what we require is some Black Templar. But we're going to do 1 and 2. And then 1 and 2. So it's a 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Black Templar. And what we're going to do here So with that all done, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Lamia medium. We're going to apply this over top of Shadowfax's hooves, but what we're also going to do is we're going to do an even smaller blend on the nose. So do that like that, and then on the nose, apply just a little bit of this, just like that. Then wash the brush, touch off the water, and then give it a bit of a blend, like so. There you go. There we go. When is next tale? September. Deadline is 4 days from now. To answer that question. So I think in order to break up what will be an intense layering and highlighting process, actually the sensible thing to do now is to layer up Shadowfax. Because otherwise it's a lot of white to do at once. Obviously, because Gandalf himself is also Gandalf the White. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you rather drink an entire bottle of contrast paint or cut off your magnificent beard? I'd rather cut off my beard. I dread to think what drinking an entire bottle of contrast paint would do to my body. Nothing good, I suspect, is the answer. Let me look at this picture again. Oh, we need a little bit of Black Legion, actually. Yeah. We'll do that now. And so with that all done, we're now going to take a tiny amount of Black Legion and we're going to apply this over top of Shadowfax's eyeballs. go. I wish I still had my OG Lord of the Rings minis, got all the boxes with the films. They would be a lovely hobby project for you now, Carl. Thing is, though, most of the models haven't really changed. So you could, you know, kind of just replace them. Albeit for a lot more money than what they were when you first bought them. 20 years ago. Cool. I'm painting a Mordor troll and drummer. Hello, says Drumming Fish. Yeah, so I think the sensible thing now is to work on the relayer, basically. Also, it gives us quite a neat little thing to accomplish in a stream. Painting all of Shadowfax, that would be good, wouldn't it? So let's do it. Let's go for it. Alright, here we go. We want that screen. So with that all done, Shadowfax is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. And it actually makes sense, I think, to my mind, to do this now, is to relayer and highlight Shadowfax, because it breaks up doing all of the white across Gandalf as well. So that's what we're going to do. So the next colour that we're going to use is some thinned down Corax white. We're going to use this to relayer and brighten all of Shadowfax's flesh and the tail and mane. Just avoiding where our shades have really settled in those recesses. There we go. That's going to be me for the next 25 minutes. So what are you working on? Other than the stuff you guys have already talked about. Couldn't have had a tutorial when I painted him, could you, Josh? Well, I did say to you that I have one to do, so if you just wait, I will eventually do one. And you said, no, I've got to go and ruin some child's life at a local open gaming night with it. And I was like, alright, off you go. Have fun, Mr. Power Gamer Adam. So much white. What can men do against such reckless white? This is exactly why I thought it was a good idea to do this now. Okay, you've done half a horse. Half. Josh is a massive power gamer, he just hates to admit it. Yeah, that's true. I am a whack gamer. I do now have, on being a power gamer front, I do now have 6 Vanguard Raptors in my possession to build up as long strike crossbows. So the next time I go to a AOS event, I'll be ready. I'll be ready to bring the pain. Very nearly had enough Corax White thinned down to do this whole horse, but unfortunately we are about to run out. Have to thin a little bit more down. But that's okay. Or maybe we will just scrape through. Maybe. Nearly. Oh, it's going to be close. I'm very jealous, Mr. Josh. Did your package arrive today, Ed? And did your package arrive today, Adam? Hello, Elijah. Found out yesterday I'm going to be a papa for the second time. Got to say, what, feeling more excited than I was having my own kids. Congratulations, Stoogie. Yours did arrive, Adam. Good. After a Corax White relay. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? See how that Corax White softened the Seraphim Sepia just a little bit. Of course, there's a highlight to do yet. And the highlight is going to be some White Scar. Which we'll get to in just a minute. If I bring it close, you should be able to see all of that shading at work. I was laughing to myself earlier because of how many Lord of the Rings characters are on white horses. And I was like, hang on a minute. So Theoden's on a white horse, Legolas is on a white horse, Gandalf is on a white horse, Glorfindel, he's on a white horse. There you go. There's an example of another white horse. It's like, more white horses. Good evening, Mark. My wife opened the box and went, wow, she has never gone wow to anything I painted. Oh, I'm sure she has, Ed. Are you happy with it? That's the main thing. If you're not happy with it, you have to tell me. And send it back and I'll do more to it. Do. Elrond and Isildur also on white horses. Yep. Who else have I done that's on a white horse? Oh, what's her name? Hera. Hera's on a white horse as well. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning of the stream, there is an upcoming MESBG video for you in the form of Glorfindel. And there's another one coming up for you in the form of Thranduil on Elk. There he is. Wouldn't that be a fight you'd like to see? No. I was so pleased with how this one came out. Particularly the ruins. I was really pleased with those. Very, very, very similar to what we did for Osgiliath, but we changed the recipe slightly. Instead of Nuln Oil, it's Corellia Green Shade. But otherwise, the recipe kind of pretty much stays the same. So yeah, really, really pleased with how that came out. But we're focusing on Gandalf the White. Not Gandalf the Grey. And I come back to you now. At the turn of the tide. You're going to want to look away for this next bit. I'm the favourite. You're not going to like it. So with that Corax white relayer all applied, all the way around, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down white scar. I'm going to use this to add some highlights, again, to all of the flesh and all of the hair. I'm just going to start here on this part of the mane. Just like that sort of thing for the hair. But of course, for the horse's flesh itself, just want to be very careful here. And just pick out the musculature of Shadowfax. Boom. There we go. I'm going to do that now. That's probably going to take us the next 20 minutes, half an hour maybe. We'll see how it goes. I do think there could be more horses in MESBG that are wearing clothes, so that there would be less highlights to have to do on their flesh. And of course, you don't have to do the highlights on their flesh. That's the beauty of a Contrast Plus tutorial. You could do it however you like. I've just found in my time that just a couple of little highlights on smooth flesh is enough to kind of just like kick it into the next level. More often than not, though, it kind of the most important ones are usually around the face and like the ankles and stuff. See? You can tell I've got my concentration face on. Whoa. Have you ever tried building the Mumiko? It's the most awful thing I've ever done. Yes. Yeah, I tried to do it on stream, and I got very angry with it. I did finally get the whole thing built. It's above me. It's literally directly above my head in the dark. It's on the shelf of shame. It's where models go when they've enraged me. Once I've forgiven it for such a horrible build experience, I will, I'll get it down. What else is on that? It's mostly bits of terrain, to be honest. But the knight, the Chaos Knight that I painted, the Knight no, what's it called? Ruinator. Knight Ruinator is also up there. That one went on the shelf of shame because it took me so long to paint. And like, you know, there's reasonable things like, so for those of you who haven't seen it already, there is currently available on the channel Contrast Plus How to Paint Miao Ying the Storm Dragon. I started painting that model on Monday. It was done by... fully done on Thursday, but I was finished with the painting by the end of Wednesday. And it was only because human form Miao Ying took a little bit longer. The actual dragon I was done really quickly on. So that gives you kind of an indication of how quickly I can do something like that. And the Ruinator took me the entire week. And it annoyed me. And it's not the Ruinator's entirely the Ruinator's fault. It's because I had a lot of videos to edit and I had a lot of other things to do. And I just severely overestimated how much time it was going to take. But it suffered the consequences of being annoying to paint whilst I was doing it. Cool. It's insane how fast you are at painting. Sometimes I'm fast. Sometimes I'm really slow. It is really like... ugh. It depends on how I'm like... how like if I'm super pumped about a model, I will dive in and I'll have it done. It's like kind of like a it becomes this flurry, and I then regret it because I kind of miss painting the model, but it is what it is. What are we painting today? We are currently painting Gandalf the White on Shadowfax. And I've just finished highlighting all the white on the horse. He has been my friend through many dangers. I glued Thranduil on Elk today. Can't wait for the epic tutorial coming soon. No. Yes, it's coming very, very soon. We've actually got a lot of videos. I didn't realise. I miscalculated the other day on how many videos I actually had in the pipeline. Given as we've now started another one with Gandalf. But there we go. Now there's one thing I need to learn from Josh of the past. Because Josh of the past is quite wise. Okay. So we did Saruman. With Mortarion Grime over Grey Seer, I think. Yeah, and then a bit of Null Noil. But I think Gandalf is pretty much the same as his horse. So I think it's going to be a case of yeah. What time are we on? We are on 10 to 2:10. We want to have a bit of differentiation though, you see. But it's pretty much the same deal, you know. I am super slow at painting for sure. A month for 10 models currently. Hey, I've had months like that. I've had many months like that. All right, let's start Gandalf. I think I know what I'm going to do for his boots. So let's do that. So with that all done, we're now going to move on from Shadowfax, because we'll do the eyes and stuff a little bit later on. So, colour we're going to use next is some Dargor Raid Shade. And we're going to apply this over top of Gandalf's boots, and we're also going to apply this over top of the staff. It's out of focus, isn't it? Oh well. We got what we needed. I hope. Hello, Will. Congratulations, chat. We got to 50 likes on the stream. It's good work. You love to see it. Yeah, I mean the next two colours on it are going to be Seraphim Sepia and Soul Black Grey. It's just a case of what the order of operations is there. Will, thank you very much for being a member for 26 months. I'm now experiencing Josh from the past with the Iron Golems tutorial. Very, 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 very Josh from the past. That's a long time ago, that video. Long old time ago. Oh, excuse me. When I concentrate for that long, it just takes it out of me for a little bit. It's good work though. It's good. It's good. It's going. That's for sure. Hello, Jacob. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. How are you? I need to actually apply that Targal Raid shade over Gandalf on foot as well. Completely forgot to do that. I think the move on Gandalf is to do kind of reverse to what we did to Shadowfax, and to thin down some Seraphim Sepia in like that 4-1 for his overcloak and stuff like that. But then just to use neat Soulblight Grey for the whiter parts. That's my inclination here. I think that'll work nicely. So I think that is what we'll do. We'll do the Seraphim Sepia bit next. So we'll go 4-1 Seraphim Sepia, 4 parts Seraphim Sepia to 1 part Larmian medium mix. I'll pop it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 from Larmian medium. Makes a slightly thinner Seraphim Sepia. Okie dokie. Pow. I need the picture up. Yeah, there we go. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 4 parts Seraphim Sepia to 1 part Larmian medium mix. And we're going to apply this over top of the kind of slightly blonder parts of Gandalf's robe. So this is going to be his kind of overcloaks and stuff like that. So it's this little section just here. Like that. And on the other side, it's a slightly shallower fold. Just in there. Like so. However, this will include all of this cloak. There we go. Does it include the hair and beard though? No. No, the hair and beard is whiter. That's fine. Right. I've got Gandalf on foot to do. Wow. I just thought to myself then, I was like, oh, I'm flying through this. And then remembered. Pippin. He thinks you have the ring. Three days ride as the Nazgul flies. You better hope we don't have one of those on our tail. Been playing 40k in OS, going to try and get the misses into Warcry this weekend. Nice. Nice, I like it. I'm not going to lie, AOS plays better than 40k and I'm tired of hiding it. It does, doesn't it? It's a more interesting game, I think. Tactically, I think it's a more interesting game. Age of Sigmar than 40k. I think there is a certain level of tactical nous to 40k, but I feel like a lot of it gets list built out of the game. I think is what I would say for 40k. I think you can account for a lot of dangers in 40k by building the right list, and thankfully there are a lot of YouTubers who will help you do that, and a lot of Reddit threads and things that will help you do that. And I think, you know, there's a degree of that happens in AOS as well, but I feel like there's a slightly more random element to Age of Sigmar. You know, the total lack of anything resembling any rerolls whatsoever anywhere in the game, at least as far as I could find them. They're obviously out there, but it's not an abundance of rerolls all the time everywhere. That makes for a much more interesting game, put it that way. Because I feel like the dice betray you in Age of Sigmar. You can't mathematically guarantee anything, as it were. You know, if everything goes to plan, of course, there are some super powerful things in the game that you can be like, yep, everything goes to plan, and this buff goes off here, and this person stands here, and this happens. All of that can happen. Of course it can. It's a tabletop game after all. But I feel like in 40k, the focus is on reducing the random element of the game for a lot of armies and a lot of kind of preferential list building. And as a consequence, it means a lot of the time it's, what are you facing? Kind of a cookie cutter thing. Of, here's my insert blur. It hits on 2s, it wounds on 2s, it's re-rolling a point of damage and a hit roll and a wound roll. And I get 2 shots. So it's unlikely to not hit both times and do both wounds. You see what I mean? I feel like that happens a lot more. As a consequence, you kind of lose some of the kind of, well, you kind of lose some of that tactical nature that you kind of may be expecting from your tabletop war games. That is correct. Excellent. Did you watch 28 Years Later? Yeah or no? No, I haven't seen it yet. I will watch it when I have access to it for free via streaming for a service that I already pay for. But I haven't watched it yet. Finally got a notification the Knights of Dol Amroth made to order. I ordered are finally on the way. Josh, assuming your Imrahil video is best for that. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I do have some to paint, but they won't be for a while. They'll be as part of a sort of big Pelennor Fields type video, which I think I'm going to make at some point, hopefully in the coming months, but life gets in the way, as it always does. Good evening, Flying Muttley. I enjoy AOS. I move, you move, I shoot, you shoot. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, they've got a slightly more. Is it there is a more interactive element to the game. Because I think what 40k, I think the mistake 40k made is having stratagems. Because with AOS, you don't really have stratagems. What you have is you have the battle tactics, of course. Not battle tactics. You have the commands. And the commands take place as universal commands that everybody has access to. Whereas I think what 40k has done is it's backloaded a lot of power into a faction's command points. So you can have that sort of Overwatch type thing going on in there. Not to the same extent, but you can have that kind of interactivity in the game. But you're better off actually saving it back for the fight on death in the combat phase. You're better off saving it for that. So you end up not interacting with your opponent, because you've backloaded all of the power into the codex, rather than kept some of the power of the game outside of the codex. I think if they just removed stratagems and put commands in and put them as universal commands and gave them to everybody in universal and stuck them across the game, I think it would make it a lot better as a game, to be honest. How was the Storm Dragon to build? It was actually one of the best building experiences I've ever had, if one of the most unsatisfactory ones. The way you build Miao Ying the Storm Dragon, the actual dragon itself, it's basically a case of build the tail, build the leg, build the leg, build the body, build the leg, build the leg, build the arm, build the hair, build this, put it all together. Which I like it to see the model come to life over the build experience. So that the final thing I do is put the hair on or put the head on, and then the model's finished. But no, you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You end up with like sort of 10 to 12 sub-assemblies, and then you put it all together at once. But in that regard, it's brilliant. It goes together really, really well. I had zero issues with it at all, other than that it felt like it was taking forever because I didn't get that satisfactory going up the model, as it were. Not alluding to a week of MESBG Pelennor Fields content coming. I don't have it. If I did, but it could. It's something that I want to do. Better than the Sentinel? Yes. Yes. Much better than the Sentinel. I'm not a fan of stratagems. I like models having their abilities and units flavour, rather than having to manage CP. I just want CP to go away, in my honest opinion. Yeah, I can see that. Look, I mean, look, the changes I would make to 40k are not massive. I would change stratagems. I'd get rid of stratagems, and I would make universal strategic abilities. And you do it the same way that AOS does it. obviously have some different ones in there because it's AOS. So that's one thing I would do. The other thing I would do is I would I don't know how I would change it, but I know that units I know that characters attaching to units is broken and it needs to change. It needs to change a lot because I feel like the majority of characters in the game are pointed upgrades for a unit now. So rather than, you know, a captain being a big deal in a Space Marine army, what a captain is it's a 90-point upgrade for Sternguard, is what it is. Realistically, because the leader ability goes away once they stop leading a unit, and that's silly, because it's like, what's the point in taking them other than as the pointed upgrade? Which then means, of course, you have a bunch of characters that don't go into lists because they don't do anything or they don't have a good leader ability, and because they don't have leader abilities that exist without leading a unit, you're having to take something for them. So you end up in a situation where perhaps you have a really powerful character that can only lead a bad unit, and people don't take the powerful character because they don't take the bad unit, is what happens. Which is silly. It's really silly. Shouldn't be how it is. So that's a problem for me. I don't mind them attaching. I think that's a really cool thing. Attaching to units is great because, you know, you get ablative wounds, bodyguards for your characters. But instead, realistically, the character is more of a bodyguard for the unit at times, I think, in the game, which is silly. It's not how it should be. I would abandon all of the way games are scored now. I would just get rid of that. Because it's Frontline Gaming's ITC tournament pack, basically. Which is not how the game should be played, because the basic level of playing Warhammer 40,000 is to play 8th edition tournament level Warhammer. That's not good. It's not. That's bad. It encourages high pressure competitive builds at every level of the game. Even if you're just playing with your friends in the garage, but you only play 11th edition, you're still encouraged to do things stupidly. I would put in force organization charts once again. I would have some restrictions, because having everything open and being able to take whatever you want is great, fine, but it does mean that armies don't look like armies. What you have is I have this unit because it does that, and I have this unit because it does that, and I have this because it does that. I have these two guys because they're going to be the ones that stand in a corner for me to get this tactic should it come up. This, that, and the other. And do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I feel like you should have a universal force organization chart. It should be the 2 troops, 1 HQ. And this, that, and the other. And as a consequence for doing that, there should be benefits. Like you should pump the power level of battle line units. Battle line should mean something other than that you can take 6 of them. Those are the things that need to change. Like objective secured perhaps isn't the way to go, because objective secured is, but battle line should be meaningful. Other than that you can just take 6, because I don't think many people do take 6 of a thing because it's battle line. You see what I mean? There's not a lot of people out there running 60 intercessors, you know. I do like being able to field all first company. That was not possible before. It was possible in 8th edition and 9th edition because of the battalions. They're all elite slots, right? So you could take the elite one, which let you take 6 elites units, or 9 elites units, or whatever it was. But that I think is an interesting point of discussion, is should you be able to field the entirety of the first company in a 2,000 point game? I would say no. I went to that Tabletop Tactics 2 game open league day a couple of months ago now, and I took 100 Space Marines. I shouldn't be able to take 100 Space Marines in 2,000 points. There's no universe where I should be able to take 100 Space Marines in 2,000 points. That was absolutely ludicrous. Technically, it was 103 Space Marines. Because I had a captain and 2 lieutenants. Remember 7th edition where you would take 100 Marines all with free transports? Yes, that was silly. That is correct. That's really creative. But like, okay, so here's the thing, right? If I was to compare and contrast, right? Brain. Yes, in 40k, I was able to take. So to that Tabletop Tactics event, I'm going to go and find the list now. If I've still got it, I should still have it. Is it that one? Yeah. So the list I took was 10 Assault Terminators, 10 Infernus Squad Marines, 3 Tactical Squads of 10-man Tactical Squads, 3 10-man Intercessor Squads, 2 10-man Assault Intercessor Squads, a Captain in Terminator Armor, and 2 Lieutenants. That was the Space Marine Army. So there's 103 Space Marines. Okay? 103 Space Marines in 2,000 points of Warhammer 40,000. And actually I won both my games. It's actually quite a good list. It could be optimized a little bit further by taking out the Assault Terminators and just probably putting in more Infernus Marines, to be honest. But I tried to do a similar thing in Age of Sigmar. Because of the way Age of Sigmar is designed, obviously, slightly different. And I took this sort of most analogous thing, Stormcast Eternals. And in 2,000 points, I was able to take a Knight Arcanum, 20 Vindictors, a Lord Relictor, 20 Vindictors and 10 Vanquishers, a Lord Celestant, and 30 Liberators. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 83 models. So 20 models left. So it's a 20% smaller army. I feel like 40k needs a 20% reduction, just 20 or a 20% bump in the amount of points that everything is costing, in order to reduce army sizes. Because, like I said, I shouldn't be able to take 100 Space Marines, when in Age of Sigmar I can take 83 Stormcast. Sounds like a fun list. I mean, it was a fun list. It doesn't do very much. It just holds objectives. For me, it's a bit like some reenactment groups. Everyone is a general or at least a captain. Yeah, that can happen. Like there's nothing. I think there's a thing. I often think that in Games Workshop games, the more we've become connected online and the louder the online commentary is, the more they are afraid to have certain units just be outrageous. And I don't think there's anything wrong with things being outrageously strong, as long as everybody has something that's outrageously strong, and that the game is designed to accommodate for the thing that is outrageously strong, if you see what I mean. I think, you know, you look at Age of Sigmar in a vacuum, look at each book in a vacuum, and you'll look at, like, for example, the god deity that leads the faction, and it will be outrageously strong in comparison to everything else in the book. And you'll be like, hey, what the hell? But it costs 700 or 800 points. And then you couple that with the fact that in Age of Sigmar there aren't any toughness values, so everything can wound everything. And then it just comes down to luck of the dice. So you might have an outrageously strong godlike being that leads the faction with 15 wounds and a 3+ save and a 6+ ward, which sounds really tough, and it is really tough, but it's being backed up with only 1200 points of something else. It's not being backed up with 1800 points of everything else, and that it also has an invulnerable save or something like that. Do you see what I mean? You know, like, it's the game accommodates for that kind of thing, and as a consequence it means even the lowliest, it's unlikely, but even the loneliest steel helm can kill Nagash, because it's decided by the dice. It's not decided by optimization mathematically and getting rid of probabilities. So, or minimizing, maximizing the positive probable outcome and minimizing the negative one. Kragnos versus Mortarion. Well, so this is the thing. If you compare Age of Sigmar directly to 40k and do Age of Sigmar versus 40k, Age of Sigmar wins every single tabletop game, because Age of Sigmar models can wound 40k models. 40k models cannot wound Age of Sigmar models. Because they'll be like, alright, we've got 15 hits. Right, what's your toughness? I don't have any toughness. So how do I figure out how to wound? Well, I guess you can't. What do you need to wound? 3+. Like, I think if I was making 40k complicated for somebody like myself to enjoy it more and make it more of a tactical game, I would give every single gun 2 ranges, and at its maximum range, if you have something that has 36-inch range, at 36-inch range, its ballistic skill is worse than it is at its half range, would be 18-inch range, and I think that would go some way to balancing shooting in the game without changing the weapons too much. But it is just a game where everything has a gun, so everything could shoot everything, and as a consequence it does just mean that you don't have to interact with your opponent really. You can stand further back and just blow them away, which is why it doesn't matter what happens. But it's why you have such ridiculous terrain maps that you have now, where there's so much terrain all over the place that it's almost hampers them, but it doesn't really, because you've still got to wander out into the open anyway, to get shot at. So it's an interesting one. Like, I'm going to be very, very curious to see as to what happens in Age of Sigmar. Oh, Age of Sigmar in 40k, because 11th edition is next year now. It is going to be July or August. June, July, August, that time when we will see 11th edition hit the shelves for us all to enjoy, or not enjoy. I will be sad if it's a 3rd edition in a row that I'm not excited for particularly. I'm tentatively, I want to be really, really enthused by 40k, I do, because, and I think this is probably something, part of the message that I don't often get across when I talk about this sort of thing, but when 40k is at its best, it is spectacular. Just when the story's cooking, when the game is fun, when the model's incredible, it's absolutely cooking. That's why 8th edition to me was like the best time it's ever been in 40k, because all of it was off the chain. But it's fallen off for me, Not for everyone else. It fell off for me in 9th. I didn't like 9th that much. And I really don't like 10th all that much. So I'll be interested to see what 11th is. I mean, 11th is just going to be a continuation, I'm sure, of 10th. They're not going to index it again. That would be really surprised to see if they did that. But this is what I mean. I would love for 40k to just be in a really, really good place. We should expect end of edition campaign books soon, I guess. Yes, we should, Yamail Angmar. That is something that we should be looking forward to very, very soon as we start the hype for 11th edition. I'd be surprised if they didn't do that. But yeah, that should be on its way, in some way, shape, or form, whatever it's going to be. Which hopefully moves the story forward. I was thinking about it though the other day, and I was thinking back to when they said, "Oh yeah, sorry, by the way, guys, Deathwatch all going to Legends," and then they walked that back and said, "No, okay, we've actually come up with an index for them. There you go." I was thinking about that, and this edition was supposed to be about High Fleet Leviathan, Xenos, and at the same time you're pushing Xenos as the bad guys and sunsetting the Xenos hunters. It's just very confused. It's just very, 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 very confused. And like, so far in the edition of 11th edition, rather than tread new ground, realistically what they've done is they've just revisited battle zones from 9th. You see? Because like, the Pariah Nexus, that's what we're in at the moment, is it? Or no? Where are we now? What was the most recent book to come out? What's the set of cards that you're supposed to use? Called? Well, it's chapter approved, isn't it? That's just called. It's just called chapter approved. Either way, Armageddon for Crusade. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, we were in Pariah Nexus, which is just a retreading of Psychic Awakening, which was the conclusion of 9th edition, of 8th edition. So it's like we've gone back 2 editions. What are we doing here? You know? Yeah, it was supposed to be the big rise of the Tyranids, and we haven't seen the Tyranids rise. Or just like a focus on Xenos, really. So I'm like I said, I'm going to be interested to see what happens, especially if we're going to get a campaign, a narrative campaign. That'd be really, really cool. Love to see that. We shall have to see. We'll have to see where it goes. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. It is now 25 to 11. We made some amazing progress, I think, on Gandalf the White. We finished the horse, basically. Here he is. Finished the horse. We got the main colour of his robe on. So there's actually not a whole lot left to do on him to get him battle ready. And then he's done. And then it's Pippin. Which we will do as well at some point. Maybe I'll try and finish him off later tonight. I've got a lot of other things I've got to get on with tonight. But I think we did pretty well tonight. That was pretty good. Like I said, I've been really enjoying painting for MESBG characters up. They are a really fun little thing to do. I think if you've ever been on the fence, guys, but you enjoy the films, just pick your favourite and see if they've got a newer plastic model. If they do, buy it and paint it. I think you'll have a lot of fun. It is good stuff. I will once again, just for those who haven't seen it, I will just show off Thranduil. because I'm really, really, really pleased with this one. And I think he looks great. This was a heck of an accomplishment, I think. But there we go. But there we go. So, with that all in mind, tomorrow there will be, I think, Glorfindel. Friday we will hopefully have for you just paint or play the new Nighthaunt Battle Tome. It's come a little bit late, but that's because I'm very behind. So hopefully on Friday that will materialise, and then Thranduil will come out. He'll come out on Thursday instead. I haven't decided yet. I'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. I will see you all very soon for another live stream on Monday at 5:30 p.m. BST. And we shall be back here on Wednesday again, doing maybe some more Gandalf. Maybe some more Gandalf. Who knows? Anyway, here is the hand of farewell, and I shall wave it at you, you beautiful people. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Bye-bye.